Focus on the Dow 29, and we bring in our traders for the floor show at the New York Stock Exchange CME Group. Scott Redler, I will begin with you. How do you trade the Dow 29 when one name on any given day is a real problem child, but everybody else is doing pretty well?
Well, what you want to do is you want to see if the market isolates what happened there with Boeing. It was a very unfortunate situation, but if you know, when we walked in this morning, we had the Dow futures down 200, but the S&P futures were up a bit, the NASDAQ futures were up a bit, so it showed you that the market really wasn't that weak. It wanted to rally. And Boeing made its low in the first 5 minutes, which actually gave traders probably a little confidence to put some risk back on. And if you didn't want to isolate the Dow, you could have been in the NASDAQ. That was a lot stronger. The small caps bounced very hard today, and there were lots of names that reacted very well where you didn't have to be in the volatile scenario. But with the futures up and Boeing make its low in the first 5 minutes, I think that showed that the market is actually a bit stronger than the bears would like to see, especially if they wanted to follow through to last week's weakness.
Yeah, Phil, does it surprise you, when you look at the number of funds that hold Boeing, it's very much one of these stocks that has been must-have. And if you haven't had it, then you've really missed out on an incredible several-year run. These horrific situations, of course, always cause a short-term ding to the stock. But, as we look forward, what do you see for Boeing, and then X that out and go to Dow 29?
I think for the big picture, it's too early to tell. But based on past accidents, it's probably going to bounce back. It really depends on what's wrong with this particular airplane. Can it be fixed? We know from the Lion Air crash, there seemed to be a switch issue where the plane tried to take over for safety and push the plane down, where more training by the pilots may have avoided the crash. So we don't know if it's a fix like that where more training is involved, or if it's a problem with the plane. If it's a problem with the plane, the stock is going to have a hard time for a long period of time, because they're going to have to reinvent the wheel, start from scratch, and that means canceling a lot of orders, and that's not good for the stock.
Yeah, this stock was above $400, Scott Bauer, just a week or two ago. And, this is a lesson, too, buying high no matter what. When you look at this 5-year chart, a 10-year chart, we just hit the all-time highs quite recently. What is your strategy when you see a stock that's on fire and you feel like you missed out on a big run, but you know that all trees do not grow to the sky?
Yeah, and actually, Liz, it traded, over 400 just a few minutes ago as well, and pulled back a little bit. And, in the face of this just absolute tragedy here, you have to be able to separate emotion from economics, or emotion from finance. And it's very difficult to do so. And I think that we saw that emotional trade this morning, as Scott
down
pointed
12%,
out.
Yes.
When we saw a trade down at 367 or so. Now, that being said, I actually think that the rally back that we have seen today of almost $35 and, 6-7% back, I think that's a little much, because I think there's too much in question right now as to what actually happened to really, substantiate this rally back. I mean, let's hope to God that, they figure this out, that it's not, a bigger issue. Let's pray that that is the case. But I think it's a very emotional, very risky trade right now.
It sure was this morning, folks. We opened and we went down 242 points for the Dow. As you can see right now, we are now up 174. Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate it.